Welcome to Beyond Birth Trauma, From Burden to Brilliance, where we uncover the powerful truth about your beginnings and how they've shaped your entire life. I'm Shannon O'Flaherty, and in this show, we are not just exploring your birth, we are dismantling the chains of generational trauma. We're diving into the core of who you are, peeling back layers of inherited beliefs and behaviors that have held you back for far too long. This isn't just about understanding your past, it is about reclaiming your future. Get ready to break free. This is Beyond Birth Trauma, From Burden to Brilliance, and your transformation starts now. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Shannon O'Flaherty here. Welcome to Beyond Birth Trauma, From Burden to Brilliance, and Happy New Year. It's the first show of 2026. Very exciting. And today's episode is called Waking Up to Spirit in a Very Human Life. And this is going to be an intimate conversation with my lovely guest, Eliza, about what happens when your inner knowing begins to speak louder than logic. In this episode, we're going to explore Eliza Wai's journey from engineer to energy healer, the moment spirit breaks through a busy, overworked life, how intuition awakens, and what it means to live between the worlds without losing your grounding. We talk about forgotten gifts, childhood conditioning, duality, claircognizance, and the courage it takes to trust what you're sensing when it doesn't fit the mainstream narrative. I'm sure a lot of you watching can relate to that. And if you've ever felt like there's more to who you are than the life you've been living, or if you're navigating an awakening while still feeling fully human, this episode will meet you exactly where you are. Everything you need is already inside you. This is a remembering. And Eliza Wai is an energy healer and guide for spiritually awakening people. She was a former engineer of a Fortune 500 company, and she rewired, i.e., retired, in February 2025 and created her spiritual business, Ethereality LLC, promoting mind, body, soul connection to find your joy in life and creating work-life balance. Eliza is certified in spiritual life coaching, Mind Valley business coaching, and in energy healing. She channels divine source and is an enlightened being here to help humanity raise Earth to her higher consciousness. As an auric architect, energy transmuter, shamanic healer, and rainbow bridge between dimensional realms, Eliza is here to lovingly remind you that the universe, God, Creator, always has your back, and that anything you should ever need is found within. Eliza, I'm so happy to have you here to speak with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I think this is your first coming out into the world with your sacred gifts, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So it's going to be interesting. So again,
Welcome
thanks.
out and welcome to come out of the closet and share everything with the world. It's wonderful. We love people who are vulnerable and brave enough to come out and talk and tell their stories, because this is how we all know that we're not alone in all of this, and that in whatever kind of weird experience we're having, that consciousness is consciousness, energy is energy, and it connects all of us, and we're all part of the same thing. So what brought you to this perfect place now? And please do start at the beginning, like with birth.
I think I want to say like I didn't realize it until later, but I think I've always been like spiritual, but like raised in a household like I was Catholic. So I needed that structure, right? Like to learn all the rules. Um, my brother had a saying, it's like learn the rules so you know how to break them. So I just needed a structure and just like figure out things, the golden rule was like, treat others how you want to be treated. So that's just a foundation I needed. But after a while, it's just like, it's like you hear those noises in the hallway when you're a kid and you're just like, oh, that's just, oh, something's out to get me. And it's just like, as you get older, you're like, no, it's just my imagination. But then after you wake up, it's just like, oh, there really was things out there, but
Well,
you
it's
just
interesting because I
tuned
think a
in.
lot of kids, because the veil hasn't closed yet, right? We're all
Right.
still quite awake and we're still connected to the other realms that are right here and here and here and here.
Mhm,
And it's interesting that you said, oh, something's out to get me because
mhm,
I remember besides the invisible monster under the bed or lurking in the closet, the beings that I would see as a child, I just thought they were really quite interesting and I'd get out of bed to go talk to them. They never scared me and it never for some strange reason concerned me that there would be like a little boy around my age with horns on his head in my room talking to me. I thought that was
mhm.
just kind of normal.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, I guess I was still pretty young at that point in time. But then did you ever mention those things to your parents and then they're immediately like, yeah, okay,
I'm
you're
pretty sure I did. Yes. I mean,
Mhm.
like that's just like a natural thing too. So after a while, it's like you brush it under the rug, or you don't talk about it with other people outside your house, right? Because it's like for you is normal. It's like again, it's like you don't walk around saying, "I have 10 fingers, I have 10 toes." You just think that's the normal.
Yeah,
So
well,
it's pretty
yes.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. But like if you tell your parents, um,
They're like, "Oh, it's your imagination." Or if even they're scared, right, because of their upbringing, they're
well,
being
they're
like, "No,
like,
you don't talk about that stuff." You know what I mean?
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
normal for them.
I remember I was out of bed. I think it was the god Pan, actually, but in a young child form that used to visit me when I was about 4. And a boy with cloven hooves, anyway, and the little horns. He was just about my size. And
Mhm.
and I got out of bed and I was by the window talking to this boy. And then my dad came in because it was the middle of the night, I guess, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I turned to introduce my dad to this boy. And by the time I turned back to the boy, he was gone, of course. And so my dad's like, "What are you doing out of bed?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm just talking to my face. Like, there's nobody there." And I was just like,
But there was.
"Yep,
So did they
go
think it was an
ahead."
imaginary friend in your case?
Um, I don't know. I think he probably just thought that I was sleepwalking or dreaming or something, but I was really quite wide awake and conscious.
Yes.
And I remember I had never told anybody that story until I was maybe in my mid 30s, and a
Mhm.
friend that I was very close to at that time, like the memory just like popped out of my brain. I don't know what we'd been talking about, but something triggered this remembering. And I said, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to tell you something. You're going to think I'm so weird."
Interesting. I identify with that. Yes.
Yeah,
I love that though. And I love hearing other people's stories too because it's so relatable or you're just like, "Oh my gosh, you too."
well, yeah. And I mean, I think this is really an important point that
Mhm.
a lot of people are having awakenings or were always awake but didn't realize it, right? Because as
Yes.
kids, we don't have, like, I've always seen auras, but as a kid, I didn't know that that was
That's what they were
different,
called
right?
or
So
what they
then
were.
that's all shut down. So when I started seeing them again in my 30s, my husband at the time said, "Isn't this blowing your mind?" And I was like, "Well, no, I think I've probably always seen them and then just forgot that I was seeing them for a while. And now I'm just kind of remembering again.
Uh-huh.
And it's not like I walk around seeing everybody with rainbows all over
Right.
them,
Mhm.
but it's like a remembering, I
Yes.
think.
That's my best word for it too, a remembering. And
A
then
re
I shut down everything. Like maybe in my 1920s, like that's when I focused on like I have to get a degree, I have to be an engineer. I wanted to be an engineer. And then I need to make a paycheck. I need to like build up my house, like, get married, have kids. And then after a while, you just, especially after having kids for me, it was just like I forgot who I was. I mean, I
well,
knew I was a mother. I knew I wanted to be that for them, but I just forgot what did I like? Who am I? Like what defines me? I didn't couldn't even figure out a hobby I liked anymore, right? Aside from reading.
yeah,
Just lose touch of who we are authentically. So,
yeah, absolutely. Because we get locked in our head.
mhm,
We get our parents' conditioning into us. And of course, as young children, we want to please the parents because they're our survival mechanism, really. So we'll go completely off piste just to please the parents.
Right. And then
Um,
just try to make a life for ourselves. But after a while, it's like that work grind. It's like, okay, drop off the kids, go to work, go do homework. It's like after a while, it's like a cycle, but it's like I know there's more to this. There has to be
so
more than this.
who did you get an engineering degree to please your parents or some?
It's really funny. So I actually want to be an engineer, and the programming I was brought up was kind of like, there's a stereotype called the Asian F. So basically, if you get an A minus, it's kind of like, what's wrong with you? You're stupid. You're dumb.
Oh, the
Like, why
Asian.
didn't you get an A plus?
Right,
So that
right.
was the mentality. And then I wanted to be an engineer. So it's kind of like, well, you're a girl. You can't do that.
Oh,
It's like,
wow.
well, that's what I want to do. It's like, well, do biomedical. That's where it's at right now. That's where girls are. I'm like, I don't care where girls are. Like, most of my friends are also guys. They're easy to identify. You know what I mean? It's just like, I want to do what I want to do. So I actually started in aerospace engineering. So that didn't really pan out just because I was trying to balance, again, work to pay my college tuition and all that other stuff. So life just gets in the way. But I think I'm totally a believer of like everything happens for a reason.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that is for me a very helpful life philosophy to have because then when life is challenging, you
Mhm.
can just be like, okay, well, don't know what the reason is yet, but
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
it'll become clear eventually. And so, what a message, though, to receive that girls can't be engineers.
Yes.
These kind of messages from our parents, bless our parents, they've all done the best they can. But
Exactly.
that tells us that we're not good enough, that we're
Mhm.
not safe to be female, that we're not smart enough, however it is that you take it.
Mhm.
And so, you mentioned your brother, and is he an older brother or a
Oh,
younger
he's an
brother?
older brother. We're actually close in age, so 17 months apart. And he actually was an engineer as well. So
Is it different in the Asian culture for boys and girls?
it can be some cultures more so than others. I think for us, I don't know, me and my brother were really close. I mean, we still are, I think, but we grew up close together and then, we had the same parents. So just what do we do with that experience? And then we piggyback off each other, right? Like my brother's older, but I ended up going to college first. But that's because I wanted that for myself. And my brother was making his way through like, jobs and everything else, trying to find his niche.
Mhm.
So, and then I don't know, just it's just the upbringing. Like, we're Filipino, so the stereotype there too is like we're more into like, oh, if we don't understand what's happening with you, or maybe there's like, I'm gonna bring up like the dark. It's kind of like, oh, we believe in like God and structure. I love it. That's what I needed. But at the same time, it's like anything they don't understand. It's like, oh, that's like the devil.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, it's probably relatable to like, that culture, but at the same time, it's just like when you grow up and you're having this reawakening, like I had like 3, 4 years ago, that was also the natural response.
So let's talk about that rewiring. So you were an engineer, and what happened? Did you just reach burnout, or what
I think
happened?
I was past burnt out, but again, didn't realize it. So, like, I'm a salary worker. So it doesn't matter if I'm working 40 hours a week, 60 hours a week. You're getting paid the same. And then I have 2 kids. So one of them was kind of like, he's always looking for me in the middle of the night. So I'll just sleep in his room. So for me, it was just like, I just reached this point of burnout and I just started waking up at the same time in the middle of the night. Usually between 2 and 5, but after a while, it was just really interesting where you start waking up exactly at the same time every night for a couple of days in a row. So you're kind of like, okay, I don't know. I don't know what this means. Started going on my phone because I'm awake for like maybe 1 or 2 hours at a time. And that's when I started noticing, like on my Instagram, like the feed's a little different at that time of the day. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then what stumbled upon one of my feeds one of these nights was like Deepak Chopra. We all, well, not everyone, but he's pretty in there with like, the inner knowing stuff. So he was offering like, hey, take your personality test here. Cool. And then you find out, oh, you can get a certification in this stuff. It's like totally intriguing. I'm pretty sure it was his website where I figured out this. I heard this word called light worker.
Hmm.
Totally
And
resonated. Couldn't tell
you
you
hadn't
why.
heard that word
I
before
hadn't
then?
heard that word before, but it was just like
Oh, really?
totally and then what I mean by it totally like resonated, like I've always had this feeling like those aha moments. I don't know, I'm sure people have them, but it was just like, oh my gosh, what is this word? Like it totally feels like me. It totally feels like I'm totally intrigued. Like what is it? So I like kind of like went through the process of like, hey, let me reach out and like get more information. But for whatever reason, it's so funny. Like we just kept missing each other, emails or calls or whatever. And then I started getting these other ads for like this it's like it's called rituality. I won't use the names, but but I ended up booking like a discovery call because I figured, hey, it sounds like they could tell me what a light worker is. So I'm just gonna go do that, figure out what this is. So I find out it's like a shamanic school for healing. And
Hmm.
then I ended up enrolling there. So that's when you like once you say yes, all these different things start happening in my life where it's just like a lot of aha moments. You start seeing like synchronicities. I don't call them coincidences because they happen for a reason.
Hmm.
Repeating numbers or whatever else. Just people you come across. Like you hear random conversations in a restaurant that's like addressing something you asked. The random song lyric or song that plays on the radio, and you're like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking about that.
Or even seeing or hearing things three times consecutively, like randomly from three completely different sources. If it shows up three times. I mean, it's very interesting that our awakenings into our remembered spiritual path, they're all very relevant and important. And like before I see in retrospect all of the nudges that I had from the universe that I missed, right? Like
Right,
just
right.
remembering that thing, that boy coming to visit me and all of these other memories that kept popping up and my interest in other things, but I wasn't getting the message because I was stuck in my body's physicality back then. I was like workout queen. I mean, I wish I still had that body. Oh my God. I was workout queen all the time, working out, like everything was physical and you were stuck in your head like thinking, create, so it's like we are mind, body, and spirit.
Yes.
Right? So
Just didn't connect the dots yet.
yeah, exactly. So when you woke up to spirit, so you went and studied, you got on the shamanic path. Congratulations. I love that path. I love ritual too. Welcome to my world. Once you woke up to spirit, what happened next?
Well, after that, it's just been interesting because, like you said, like I hadn't heard about the three. Like you said, it happens three times. So
Oh, right.
yeah,
Okay.
so that's kind of cool because again, that's like
Now
just
you're going to
learning about
see
this stuff.
everything
Yeah,
three
exactly. No, it makes
times
sense because you're right. I've seen it
tomorrow.
in
You'll be
retrospect, but I
like,
didn't know that was another thing. And that's what I like about like spirituality. It's just like you're always learning. Like I'm always super curious. Like that's part of being an engineer. Like I want to learn how things work. There's like the mechanics behind stuff, right? So the science. My friends that are spiritual that did certifications, they call me the sciencey one because I like, they're like kinesiologists or like Reiki healers, and that's amazing. It's like I hadn't really known people that do that stuff. So it was nice to connect the dots. But yeah, once I had that awakening, it was just kind of like, I think you said it best when we talked before. It was like I had a calling as like an energy healer and a spiritual life coach while I was still an engineer. But
"Hmm,
after a while, it's like I even convinced myself, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm making this stuff up, like all these coincidences, these synchronicities. And it's just like, but then the people that you meet and then just how they relate, they have similar stories. It's just like you can't be making this stuff up. Like it's too like you can never orchestrate that.
oh
So,
man, I think I was 22, maybe 22 years old. So I hadn't awakened to spirit yet. Things were just starting. And that's the first time I discovered that I had a big invisible jaguar sitting next to me. And I
nice.
just
I
thought
love
like,
that for you.
oh my God. I'm like, I'm going straight into the psych ward. Like, not tell anybody about this. And
Right.
I thought, like, okay, I'm just imagining things. And then I thought, well, I wonder if I can feel it. And, I put my hand down, nothing. Then I went really slowly. And I think that was like me consciously experiencing a shift in energy because I
Oh, I
didn't
love
know
that.
what else to call it back then. And I was
Yes.
like, wow, I can actually feel this thing. And I thought, yeah, I have to keep this a secret to myself because I will be in the straitjacket before I know it. And it terrified me.
Mhm.
And it was the same time that I saw like ghosts or spirits for the first time, like with a knowing. And and I call it my left side feeling because all the hairs on the left side of my body would go straight up. Like you could put both arms out and the hairs on the left side up, right side down. And I'd be like, what is going
Interesting.
on? And I just get like this zing down my left side when I knew that there was something other
Uh-huh.
happening.
Oh,
So
that's
I,
cool.
my left side knowing. And that is where I receive information is through my left side, which is
Okay. Yeah, everyone's different. I thought that's interesting too, because some people they can tell like, oh, it's on the right side, it's this side, or it's on the left, it's like
yep,
my mom's side or whatever. So super
yep.
interesting.
It's really relative to the person. And all of those kind of early knowings, right, that I
Mhm.
kept secret. And then years later, so maybe almost 20 years later, I go to shaman school, and like every other person has a big black invisible jaguar with them, and they're really open about it. I'm like, wow,
Oh,
okay,
they did. That's cool. They all had like the
okay.
same.
I'm not the only one. Like I felt like I had really found
Your
my
soul
tribe
family.
and my
Okay.
home and my people.
Yes. Yeah. I call them my soul family because it's like they're so related. And then, we're all different too, because some of the experiences I have, they're like, what? Like, that's so crazy. It's like, I know, right? But at least, just meeting open-minded people where you could talk about this stuff too. It's like a safe
Yeah.
spot where you could just be you. It's like, I didn't have that. Like, I never knew what that was. Or, I forgot, really. So just
I think
being
that's a
there.
really important thing that you just said about being with people who you can be your fundamental self
Yes.
with without people judging you or thinking you're completely off the deep end of another planet, you know.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Um, it's important to have that community. Like that community is your safety net, essentially, especially
Mhm.
because we don't just go through one awakening, of course. We go
Of
through
course.
in our
Yeah.
spiritual development.
And it's been pretty, I'm really grateful too, because like these people also live like they're in different states, different countries. So it's amazing, like just, knowing that you have that network out there. And then like you, Shannon, you found me too, like in the same platform. It's like so funny, right? Like everything happens when it needs to, divine timing. So, but just learning about the gifts too, like the shamanic school we went to, there's like the 9 gifts that they told us that we each have. I guess it's some resonance that they were looking for. So that was eye-opening as well, because like the things you experience, like it's like, oh, there's a word for that. Like for me, it's like claircognizance is probably like my top gift. Like I've always had it as a kid.
And explain
Like
to people how you experience that.
so for me, okay, so what I read is claircognizance is basically when you have that knowing. You can't explain it rationally, you just know. So for me, it was kind of like also like there's a funny story about that. Wasn't sure if I should mention it. I told it to you, Shannon, but it was like basically there's this voice in your head. It's your reading voice, your whatever, the one that tells you you're making like your moral compass, what you will. So for me, I've always had that. But again, like that whole thing I say about I have 10 fingers, 10 toes, I don't talk about it. So when I was going through the stage of like when I was overworking, I fainted one time. And then I even asked my husband like a couple of days later, hey, can you take me to the ER because I don't like something's not right. And it's just like, well, what is it? You can talk about it now. I know it's funny. I think it's relatable, and that's why I want to share it. But at the time, it was just like it's just so much different, right, when you're in the thick of it. But long story short, I asked my husband to take me in there. My chief complaint at the ER was basically like that voice in my head, like the one, like I said, I talked to you. It's just the one that tells you right and wrong. It's like it sounds like me, but I know it isn't.
You told this to the
I
people at
told that to the ER because that was my chief complaint because I was like, dude, it's like it was like totally negative. It's like I would never talk to myself this way. It's like, what the heck? Where's this coming from? And it was just this negativity that was just like, I don't talk to myself that way. It's so weird. And then that's the funny part, right? Because they put me on a psychiatric hold. So I did not know that was not normal
in mainstream world, if you
in
haven't
mainstream world. So
read.
yes.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it's funny now, but I had to experience that, right? And then when I start my shamanic work, like I'm talking to one of the coaches and I tell her the story, and she's like, oh, yeah, no, 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 no. You don't tell anyone about the voice. I'm like, well, how was I supposed to know it's not normal? Like, what's normal, right? So that was
Well,
another initiation too, where it's just like, oh, I can't be making this stuff up. You know what I mean? It's just like
there is a
something else is
vast abyss between mainstream normal and the world in which we live in normal. Okay.
happening. And
And
I didn't
I
realize that.
mean,
I was just trying to be me.
I'm surprised often when I meet somebody who's just really mainstream because most of the people that I know are therapists of some sort or spiritual on a spiritual path or something. So we all speak the same language.
Mhm.
We have a similar philosophy, not always, but most people know about the basic things that I know about. And sometimes when I meet a mainstream person who hasn't ever heard of anything, like maybe not even the law of attraction, and I'm like, really?
Right.
Like,
I mean,
wow.
I was one of those people too, right? So that's why it's funny.
We all
Funny.
were until we woke up, right?
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
think because I surround myself with like-minded people. So you end up taking a lot of what you know for granted because there aren't other people out there going, what on earth are you talking about?
That's a good point.
Even some of my students, they're already awake to a certain point because they're exploring and looking for answers, right? So if you're
Mhm.
already looking for answers, you're already awake to a certain
That's
level.
true. And then that whole saying is like, once you're awake, like they're still coming back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I was totally like in and out for a while because it's like, dude, I'm totally making this stuff up. But then later on down the line, like, you could do this in retrospect, but I even have people that are mainstream that you talk to. And it's so relatable too. Like, one of my neighbors is like, she's a former nurse. And she actually told me, because I told her my story. And she was just like, the fact that you actually questioned yourself, like, are you crazy? Shows that you're not. And I'm like, that's true. I didn't realize it at the time.
That's really important though, because this is something that never ends, because
Mhm.
wherever you are on your journey, there's often doubts. They might be back there, they might not be keeping you awake at night, but like I used to question my path all the time.
Mhm.
And I had some very amazing friends who would be like, "How can you remotely be questioning this? Look at all the people you're helping." And yet I was still in a place of doubt because when it's like when you're in it yourself, you can't see your broader perspective the way others can see you. And so that's part of everybody's process. Oh, I think this is such good information for everybody listening because there's so many people out there right now who are having some kind of an awakening going on. And if you think about wood snake energy year coming to an end and fire horse energy year starting February 17th, fire horse energy kicks in. And that's about like galloping forward with motivation and really knowing where you're going. So right now, a lot of us are shedding, really getting rid of
Mhm.
all of that old stuff. So I imagine quite a few people are in a massive transformation right now because that's the energy that's out there right now, transformation
That's
energy.
true. And I love that too, because I noticed that too. A lot of the sciencey stuff is catching up with like the real world, or like, science meets religion or whatever. It's amazing. I love it. It's great. It's a great time to be.
Um, I loved when we were speaking earlier that you mentioned that the job that you have in your human life is really who you are in the astral dimension. And I thought that was a really interesting concept. I'd never really thought
Thought
about
about.
that before. Do you want to elucidate on that
Yeah, that was
philosophy?
kind of interesting too, because I guess I'm like, so in real life, I was like an engineer, right? I mean, before all that, my jobs were like customer service or whatever, so service based. Like when I was younger, I wanted to be a teacher. So it's really funny when you look at it and you're translating it. It's like, I have friends that are graphic designers, but now they have their own businesses or they're kinesiologists or whatever. But yeah, for me, it was like I'm an engineer. It's just like I want to learn how things work, how that transfers out, and then like that whole shamanism thing. It's like we're bridges between dimensions, so it's relatable. Like the words that you used in my intro in the beginning is just like those are the words I was given by like spirit or divine source, whatever you want. It's like an auric architect. When I've done alignments with the clients I work with, it's like we're totally rebuilding like the human condition or like the human what they think it is.
Mhm.
Um, an energy transmuter is another one, and then the healer. So it's just really funny because like I'm re-engineering. I was an engineer in the 3D world, but in the 5D world, that's also what I do. It's like I help
Mhm.
transmute or help build these things between dimensions. But again, it's like you can't really talk about this with like the everyday person on the street. They're like, you're crazy, you should be locked up. But it's really funny. It's be like, oh hey, I already got checked out. I'm good. But anyway, so yeah, but I think it's very, very interesting. And then like for a little bit now, it's like I'm like I'm retired from engineering. I'm still looking, but at the same time, if it's just things I wanted to do. It's just like I was looking into being working at a police station. And it's just like, oh, because I'm like a guardian for this world and like Earth, so it's really funny. And I was thinking about that the other day too. It's really hilarious when you think about it. And then right now it's just like I was working on this finance campaign, and it's just like, oh yeah, I actually did finance stuff as an engineer too. So that's also what I'm trying to bring in too, like money. I heard like energy is the new currency. And
Mhm.
that's the world we're shifting into. So 7D consciousness and higher. So it's pretty interesting. Again, how like I'm even learning a lot of this stuff too, where it's just like, oh my gosh. It's like and then let's see, how do I put this? The other thing I was like working with like the past year or two is just like, reading one thing, believing it, and then getting to embody it. For me, totally different experiences.
Mhm.
So it's just like something like I've only been like reawakened for like 3, 4 years now, almost 4 years.
Mhm.
But it's like what you said, it's just like it's a total remembrance of who we were.
It really is, and it peels off in layers. And I would say one of the main practices that students are always working on is learning how to get out of their own way.
Oh yeah, that
And
was my total problem.
it's everybody's total problem in the beginning. You're the
Right.
wounded healer. So you're just like, oh God, I'm making this up or whatever, whatever. And with my clients, I used to experiment on my clients because who better to learn on than your clients?
Right, because they're open-minded to it too. It's like, yeah, let's learn
Over there.
together.
You
Right.
know, most of us are born with a main gift, whether it's sensory or auditory or visual or whatever it is. And so mine, I'm very kinesthetic. I feel things, I feel energy, but I think the first gift maybe was visual because I see things too. But I wanted to enhance all of my gifts because we have all of them. So I would shut down all of the other gifts and for like a month or two on my clients only be like I have to see it, right? And it was really frustrating. And I'd be waiting there, waiting for the picture. Or then when it was like trusting the knowing, like I have to know it. And once I had a knowing and I was like, oh, and then I just was going to go check it out. And I heard clear as day, what are you doing? And I was just like, what? I'm just going to check it out. Why? When you already know. And I was like, okay, okay, gosh, I just
Yeah,
relax, you know?
that's
So
funny.
it was a very interesting practice because in shutting down the other senses so that I could allow each of the other ways that you receive information to really get bigger or stronger,
Mhm.
it made me much more in tune with receiving everything.
Yeah.
And one of my teachers, Dr. Alberto Violdo, in fact, my first shamanic teacher, he told us all one day when we're tracking energy, if you're having a hard time finding it, always ask your client because your client will go, "Oh, I don't know." And they'll put their hand right where it is, right? Or
Oh, that's
whatever.
funny.
But
Yeah.
even if your client is not connected to it and you're really having a hard time tracking energy, he said shockingly, I think the whole room gasped. He said, just make it up. And we were all like, oh, make it up.
Yeah.
And he said, well, yeah, why would you be making up that as it's going there or doing this as making up anything else? It's just you getting out of your own way and letting your higher self take over. And I thought, wow,
Hmm.
some real sense to that, actually.
Mhm.
And I've only ever had to make it up twice in all of my years of practice when I
There you
really
go.
couldn't find the energy. And sure enough, the minute that I made it up, I found the energy and then I could track it. And it was really, really interesting. So I've always found that from that philosophy of make it up when I don't have the answer. Um, and in fact, Brian, who we've both worked with, Brian, in
Yes.
he says, have a 2 minute walking listening prayer with God. Like just like what's going on? I really need an answer for this. And then inevitably the answer comes. But I like to play the, well, how would it be if I did know the answer to
Oh, that's true
this?
too. I like that angle.
So
Yeah.
I always ask myself the question, well, how would it be if? How would it be if the solution to this did come, even if it's not what I think it should be? How would it be if I allowed the solution to come to me? Because that's kind of like making it up, because then you're trusting whatever you're given. And these are wonderful little practices to just get out of your own way on a daily basis with everything.
Yeah. That makes sense too. Plus, you're also putting it out there if you think about it.
Oh,
And then
absolutely.
it doesn't just materialize. But because I was thinking that too, because it's like, why would you make it up? Because, like the whole thing about integrity, but that's not the whole point. The intent is just like, I'm curious, where is this going? And so the idea comes from somewhere. So you're
Absolutely.
not really making it up.
You're
So that's
not.
pretty interesting. I like that.
I
I like
know
that idea.
he's very tuned in, very, very smart man, and very, very funny um, too. But yes, so it's about um, getting out of your own way all of the
Mhm.
time so that you can receive the information that you need to direct you to another place. And that's why, like I learned a long time ago, if I missed a train or if I missed a plane or whatever, to not go into drama and meltdown about it because
Yeah,
I'm just like, you know what? Maybe there's somebody on the next train that I'm supposed to meet. Or maybe, God forbid, something bad would happen to the plane or whatever it was that I'm
right.
not supposed to be on it,
Yes.
you know,
And you read
for
stories about that all the time. That's the
whatever reason.
interesting part. Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then that's, I guess I'll bring this up. So me and a couple of my friends that did so one of the recommended readings was like presence process. But a few of us just sat on it. And then we just recently completed one of those too. But it was, again, it's just like the message is basically stay present. Like, don't get into the dramatics of things. Don't overthink things. It's just like you missed the plane. All right. So what are you gonna do now? Right? You can dramatize it all day, this and that. But in the end, it's just like, okay, well, what are we doing right now? Stay in the moment. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, it's like, I forgot what he called it. Felt sense. So for me, it's like, for me, my claircognizance is like a feeling. Like
Mhm.
even the voice in my head, if you will. That's also like there's no audio. It's just a feeling for me. It's a
Mhm.
vibration.
Mhm.
So it's funny too. And then what you were saying too is just like, the vibrational match. Like, you're attracting. Like, what's the
Mhm.
answer? Let it come to you. Don't be dramatic and try to go seek it out. I mean, you can. People have different means for that.
And
But whatever works for you.
you can invite your clients too and your friends, because often if I ask somebody and they're like, I don't know, and I'd say, but if you did know, and they
I
look
know
at
that's
me,
a good approach too. I actually have friends right now that call me up too.
yeah,
They're like, I'm supposed to call you for blah, 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 whatever the subject is. I'm like, okay, well, let's look into that together because
like
I didn't know that.
to
But hey,
encourage them to, but if you did know, because we all know, we all have the
you're
answers we
right.
need.
We all do. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just really fascinating. So basically, you started to channel information
Mhm.
to learn what was
What
what
was
you,
coming in at that time. Yeah.
yeah.
I call it channeling divine source because I feel like that's what it is. Like that,
Mhm.
whatever, where we all originate from, I suppose.
Mhm.
But yeah, I get a lot of messages and a lot of aha things. And then when I'm talking to people, especially like to people like just people that are open to this, right? Just being open-minded and like from an observational point of view. No one's
Mhm.
taking it personally or whatever. It's like a lot of the messages come out. It's just like, oh my gosh, it's pretty cool.
It's really interesting because when I've done a lot of that working in groups, and I would get very, very nervous because we'd all be tracking the same thing, but in a group.
Mhm.
And what I found is that we all absolutely saw the same thing, but we experienced it in completely different ways.
Yes.
So some people would get like a whole costume drama. Some people would see lights and flashes. Some people would just have a knowing. Other people would have a feeling or an idea. And it was really, really interesting. And I thought, but everybody's absolutely talking about the exact same thing,
Yes.
only
Agreed.
experiencing it. in a completely different way. And there's no sort of right or wrong
Agreed.
in any of the ways that we experience working with energy. But when I was working in groups, it really gave me a lot of confirmation that, like, okay, I am not making this up.
Exactly. And I love that you said too. And it's just like everyone's experiences is different too, just like the example you gave. But it's all and that's what makes it more like, I guess, or awe-inspiring. It's just like, oh my gosh, it's like we're seeing the same, ultimately we're seeing the same thing. Different experience, but again, you can't make this stuff up. You just can't. It's like it's not a
No,
coincidence that there's what I mean, there's billions of people on this planet, so no one's ever gonna like you because that's just not how it works, right? Who cares? But all it is just like we're all having the same experiences. But if that makes sense, like a universal experience.
yeah, absolutely. Um, one of the I used to go see tarot card readers and psychics and stuff like this.
Mhm.
And she told me that my guides and angels took great joy because they thought that I was a very hysterical specimen, like that I was very, very funny.
Yeah.
And one day I had a brand new bottle of salad dressing and the cellophane was still on the top, like brand new. I hadn't opened it at
Uh,
all. And I was about to shake it up, right? And I heard clear as day, check the cap. And I looked at the bottle and I'm like, cellophane, it's brand new. It's unopened.
uh,
Check the cap. Did I check the cap? No,
no.
this was before I was listening to myself. So I shake the salad dressing and the cap and cellophane goes flying off all over the walls, all in my hair, all on my dress. And I'm just standing there in the kitchen and I hear,
Told you.
ah,
Oh, yeah. See, I've gotten that too.
cap. And I was like,
It's like we
check
told
the
you so, but we're
cap.
not going to say those words. That's hilarious.
Okay, check the cap. Very funny.
Yeah, that's
And
funny.
then one day I went to see her and she wasn't there and it was quite a drive away and I came back and I was all annoyed and my son was very young at the time and he's like, "Mom, why do you even bother going to see her when you already know all of the information yourself?" And
Isn't that funny how they know that? Exactly, like you said,
I was
because
like,
they're
"Well,
not,
who made you
yeah.
so smart, kid?" So I think that was pretty much when I stopped going to see them.
See, again, it's like
I
you
don't know.
needed,
It's very
yeah,
good.
you needed your son as the outside source to be telling you, like, reminding you again, lovingly. It's like, you already know what the answer is, so why are you doing
Yeah.
it? But it's so
Yeah.
funny. I love kids. Like, there's the darndest things sometimes, right?
Well,
And then,
they're
yeah, when they're
still much
still
more
plugged into source.
they're
Yeah.
still more plugged in than most grown-ups are.
Yeah,
So,
the human programming hasn't kicked in yet.
yeah, I mean, it starts pretty early. I mean, do you consciously remember being awake and connected to the veil as a child?
I think so, because I mean, I was remembering I had too. It's like I remember in second or third grade, I actually wrote like a poem or a book about God and like how everything's connected. I totally forgot about it, but I remember my teacher was like so excited about it. And at the end of the year, when you get your work back, I was like, "Oh, where's my notebook?" or whatever about this. And she told me like she totally wanted to keep it. And I was like, "Oh, all right, fine." But it was just one of those things again. So I don't know. So it's pretty interesting.
It seems like I was the last person to discover that I was a spiritual person. And I've kept journals my whole life. And you look back through my journals, I was like, well, it's all right here. I really
That's
kept
pretty funny
it the
too.
whole time.
Maybe that's why I didn't keep journals. No, just kidding. I'd be like, oh, duh, hello. Super funny.
So, so what were the things that you ignored as a child that you knew to be true?
Oh, well, one was like the things in the hallway that were out to get me. But here's something I did realize. I think we briefly talked about it before. It was just like, what if you realize, and this is what I realized, what if you are the monster under the bed?
Mm.
That's what I felt like. It's just like, oh, that's just like the different parts of me that are just like, hello, I'm here. But you don't want to, maybe that was the shamanic
That's
side of me. I don't know. But that was just the
a
part of me that was just
profound
like, no, thank you.
realization to have as a young child.
I don't, I think I no, I think I realize that now. I didn't know that as a
Oh,
child.
oh,
I think the
okay.
things I was afraid of as a child were basically the remnants of me, like maybe my soul fragments that I need to pick up. That's also a new term that I learned when I reawakened soul fragments. I'm like, oh my God, that's a thing. I totally felt like I had to reintegrate everything. Like I just blew myself apart when I was 19, 20, threw away my feminine side, totally focused on like the logical side of things, right? Engineer, build the family, et cetera, et cetera. But now it just like you have to piece it all together
Hmm.
and then that's who we authentically are. Like, and then, like your soul self and then your human self. I think it was
Hmm.
like the three things you mentioned too. It's just like mind, body, soul, right? So it's just really funny how you have to integrate that and embody it. So totally different experience, right? For me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of kids shut themselves down early on,
That was me.
either, well,
Yeah,
because we don't have that support mechanism. I mean,
true.
now it might be different with some families because more of this stuff, not that it's mainstream, but it's more widely known
Yeah,
in child
agreed.
psychology that your child's invisible friend might not be an invisible friend. It might be like a spirit. Yes, okay, an invisible friend, but it might be a spirit. It might be even in your family line, and like it's
Mhm.
best to engage with the child. Well, who is it?
Right.
What are they telling you? Like, to not just say no, that's not right, because
Hmm.
then you're telling your child not to trust what your child inherently knows. So whether you believe in invisible friends or spirits or whatever, that if your child is saying, "Oh, mommy, I'm talking to this person," the best thing to do is to engage with that and go, "Cool. Well, who is it? Can I meet that person? What are
Hmm.
they telling you? What's going on? What are you getting from that?" And that tells your child that they're not crazy.
Right. And then it's a safe environment and they can speak up for themselves. Yeah, because
Yes.
one of my kids too, they were telling me before, like, oh, I feel something or like it's scary. It's like, well, okay, well, you can tell it to go away. Like if they're totally bothering you, go tell them to go away. So and one time he actually used it and I went over to go see what he's talking about. But it's just one of those things where again, yeah, it's like I didn't feel safe as a kid. Maybe that's why I internalized it. I never talked about it. I mean, yeah, maybe I was trying to fit in or whatnot, but when you think about it, it's just like I didn't feel safe.
Well, no, I mean, I felt loved from my
Exactly. And I felt physically safe,
yes.
but
Yes,
right.
but I think the safe is more like not understood, really not properly seen for who you are. I mean, I remember telling Rome, my youngest son, that I had this big black invisible jaguar next to me all the time, and he was like, "Cool."
Right? Yeah, that's kind of cool. He's like, when do
And
I get mine?
he goes, can I see it?" And I'm like, "Well,
Can you?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. Can you?"
Yeah.
It's always there on my left. And he said, "Can I touch it?" And I said, I don't know. Now so he goes like this, nothing. And I was like, "Yeah, so go slowly." I'm like, "Just go slowly." And it's subtle. You'll feel the energy shift. And so on this day, for some reason, my Jaguar was sitting next to me.
Uh-huh.
Usually she's standing, but
Oh,
she was
nice.
sitting.
Mhm.
And Rome goes down and he stops on her head and pets her down her back like she's sitting. Oh, I'm getting chills right up my left side again, remembering
That's
this. I
cool.
was like, oh my God, he can feel my jaguar. I didn't know that was possible.
No,
And
that's
he,
cool. Yeah.
cool. And sometimes he'd be like, "Oh, did you see that?" And he'd see this light orb like flying across the room. And I was like, "You saw that?" I'm like, "Cool." So I don't know that he tunes into these things now.
Uh-huh.
When he was a kid, sort of 9, 10, 11, he still was tuning into that kind of stuff. And I thought it was cool.
I think it's cool too. And then some of my friends now, like they have kids or even grandkids, like hearing their stories too. And it's just like, and they're just so willful or they're so I'm talking to my friend, I'm doing this and that. So it's like there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's great. And then yeah, since we're more aware, we encourage it, right? Or we don't have to encourage it. They're just free to be themselves and we're not there to shut them down. So they're
Yeah.
allowed to explore on their own thing within, their own safety because you don't want them talking in like the wrong spirit or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like we're there as an open door for them to, talk about. I didn't have that. I didn't have that till like maybe 2, 3 years ago.
Well,
So
no. I mean, this is really how how duality sets in, isn't it, really? Because we get disconnected from all of those kind of fundamental truth parts of ourselves. And
Mhm.
so we have to be either or instead of both.
Yeah,
I
and that's the part that I took like a little time to like figure out. But again,
think we're all taking a
I think
lot
so too.
to figure this
Like you
out.
put it for the show, it's like wherever stage you're at, it's like, you're not crazy, keep going. Like
Mhm.
again, everything you need is inside of you. And like, I get it. Sometimes you feel alone. Like I live in a house with 6 people. I feel alone. Like I'm not physically alone, but I felt like, I've no one's understanding this journey. And that's also why I was like, maybe I am crazy. But then you meet the right people and it's just like, oh my gosh, there's something more to this. And then part of the beginning for me too was just like, oh my gosh, this is great. I want everyone to know like what's wrong. It's not like what's wrong, but it's just like people should like lean into this more. But then something I learned is like an acronym for love was like let others voluntarily evolve.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I wanted to wake up. Doesn't mean that person next to me wants to wake up, but that's their journey.
Divine timing,
Right.
And I think as light workers, besides being the bridge between the worlds, is to
Mhm.
plant seeds for people and to model a way forward and to just be in all of your weirdness, your wonderful weird self,
Right.
and keep talking about the really cool stuff. Because, I mean, look at all of the books that are out there now that are
Mhm.
exploring all of these themes and topics
Yes.
and video games and
Movies.
even movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. There's like lots of interest in magic and otherworldliness that there hasn't been before.
Yeah, agreed. I agree too. And then
And
here's something I also put, oh, sorry, Mina, but
yeah,
I was just saying, here's something I was talking to someone recently. But it was just like, a lot of people are thinking like, I'm human having this mystical experience.
mhm,
But it's like, well, you just get curious, right? You don't have to agree with us, but just get curious. It's like, well, what if it's the other way around? What
mhm.
if we're all energetic beings having a human experience?
I think it's much more like that.
I think so too. For me, it was too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we're these high vibrational beings. That's like I came to Earth because I wanted to learn like the low of the lows. Like you can't experience that being high vibrational.
Mhm.
Like, you know what I mean? But a human can. Like
Yeah.
what it's like to just feel like total despair or grief or sadness. Like you want to experience that and you can better understand it. So I feel like that's part of why, we came and we're in this plane together. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, to experience all of it, to experience all of it. Um, Yeah, it's wonderful. Oh, it's so interesting speaking to you. I know that we could speak forever and ever, but I like to do a little bit of healing at the end of every show and give everybody some downloads.
Okay.
So if the viewing audience, oh, before that, I always forget. Tell people where they can find you, Eliza.
Oh, okay. So I have a domain, but nothing's really published yet. But you can reach me at eliza@angelascension.com. That's the easier one.
Eliza@angelascension.com. Okay,
Yes.
that's great. And you can reach me at shannonbtb.com or shannonoflaherty.com. And please book a compass call or mind shift call. They're 20 minutes. It's free. I'd love to connect to everybody. Then if you have something that you want to just talk about or get a new perspective on, or if you want to work with me, or if you have an interesting story and you'd like to be a guest on this show, I really want to speak to you. So let's have some downloads here. So if you're ready to receive, put your feet, don't cross your legs, put your feet flat on the floor, have some water if you need them, have your palms up, and just say yes after each thing. Let me disconnect. I know what it feels like to be safe to express my truth. Say yes if you want to receive that in every cell of your body, in every level and plane of your existence. I know what it feels like to trust my inner knowing.
Yeah.
I know what it feels like to enjoy my awakening process. I know what it feels like to be connected to God, the universe, creator of all that is, divine spirit, great spirit. In every cell of my body, in every level and plane of my existence. So, Eliza, if you could tell everybody one thing to take away from this conversation today, what would you want them to take away?
Just the remembrance that, everything you ever need is inside of you. Like in whatever way form that brings it out. I mean, that's for you to figure out, but I mean, that's why we have guides, right? Like you and myself and all these other people out there in books. So just know that you're not alone and this is just a journey. We all have our own path, but for me, it's like we all have the same destination. It's oneness.
That's great. Thank you so much for this wonderful, open, vulnerable, intimate conversation that we've had this evening. It's just like hanging out with a friend drinking tea. I haven't been drinking tea, but I could have
Yeah,
been.
exactly. Thank you so much for having this,
It's been
for this
wonderful to
opportunity.
have you, Eliza, and I hope you do more podcasts and come out and share your brilliance and share your wisdom and your experience because we are not alone in all of this. And I love you all so much. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, you can find me on Spotify and Apple and YouTube and on my website and the Transformation Talk Radio platform. So look forward to seeing you next time. Lots of love. Bye for now.
Thank you.
You have been listening to Beyond Birth Trauma From Burden to Brilliance with Shannon O'Flaherty on Transformation Talk Radio. On the second Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, we connect the dots between your ancestors, your birth, and the patterns that keep you stuck, guiding you to a place of profound healing and unstoppable brilliance. By examining and healing your cellular imprint from birth of how you perceive and respond to the world and the challenges that are created in your day-to-day life, we can begin to heal and live more balanced and fulfilling lives. For more information, visit shannonbtb.com. That's shannonbtb.com.